Hi, fourth graders. So we're going to continue our Casey at Bat poem with today's lesson. And our vocab is the same, but I do want to review it one more time because there's quite a lot of it. So the first word is defiance, and that is a noun that means disobedience. So not following what someone tells you to do. Ease is a noun that means a feeling of comfort or relaxation. Fraud is a dishonest action. Lusty means healthy and strong. Melancholy means sadness. Multitude is a large group. Patrons are people who support something or fans. Stern is an adjective, strict or harsh. Stricken is an adjective, upset. Visage is a face or the expression on it. A hyperbole is an exaggerated statement, and it's a figurative type of statement. And then a quatrain is a 4-line stanza. Okay, so we're going to read Casey at Bat one more time today. As I'm reading, please make sure to picture this poem happening in your brain. Try to imagine and visualize what the characters are doing and how they're feeling. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. The score stood 4-2, with but one inning more to play. And then when Cooney died at first, and Barrows did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to the hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought, if only Casey could but get a whack at that, we'd put up even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as also did Jimmy Blake, and the former was a hoodoo, while the latter was a cake. So upon that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey getting to the bat. But Flynn let drive a single, to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted, the men saw what had occurred. There was a Jimmy safe at second, and Flynn a hugging third. Then from 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell. It pounded on the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing, and a smile lit Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat, no stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then, while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance flashed in Casey's eye, a sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman the ball unheeded sped. That ain't my style, said Casey. Strike one, the umpire said. From the benches black with people there went a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore. Kill him! Kill the umpire! Shouted someone on the stand, and it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult, he bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the dun sphere flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two." "Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and echo answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again. The sneer is gone from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in this favored land the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. Okay, number 1 asks, what is a stanza? That's a review question. Number 2, count or number the stanzas in the poem Casey at Bat. How many stanzas does it contain? And then how many lines are in each stanza? And then you're going to write down all of the words in the first stanza that rhyme. So go back to the very first stanza, write down the words that rhyme in the box. Okay, for your skills today, you're going to be writing a narrative poem. So it says, Casey at Bat tells a story about how things did not work out the way the people of Mudville thought they would. You'll follow its example in this writing activity. So just like in the poem, I want you to think of a time when something didn't go the way you expected. So in the poem, everybody thought that Casey was going to win the game for them. They were looking forward to him coming up, and then he ended up striking out. He ended up losing the game for the team. So think of a time when you were disappointed, when something happened that you didn't expect to happen, and write a sentence talking about it in this space below. Now describe the scene of your story. So what's the setting? Where was this located? When did it take place? How old were you? What grade were you in? Who was there with you? What did you expect to happen? So what did you think was going to happen? And then what actually happened? And how did you feel about what happened? Think of a detail you want to emphasize in your poem, so something important that you might want to repeat. And then how will you emphasize it? Are you going to make it a metaphor? Are you going to use repetition and say it more than once? Alliteration. You're going to use the same letter in the beginning sounds. A simile. Compare something using like or as. So pick which one you want to use, and then put all of that together and write your poem here. It should be at least a couple stanzas long, so make sure that you include all of the events that happened in that memory you're thinking of. All right, that's all for today. Remember, you can always rewind the video and listen to that poem more than once, and get on Zoom if you need any extra help. Have a great rest of your day, guys.